Hey, it's Kurt here with Inspections Over Coffee, and if this is not your first video, then welcome back. If it is, nice to meet you. One of the questions we get all the time is kind of like, best case, worst case scenario, how long is it going to take me to get started? There is a lot to it, okay? Before long time ago, after I got out of the military, finance, I was an investment advisor, and home inspections is a lot like the CFP, Certified Financial Planner. And I remember my first class with that, and basically what they tell you is that the idea is the knowledge is an inch deep and a mile wide. That's how it is with us. We have all the systems of a home that you gotta like learn and understand: roofing, insulation, structural, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, appliances. It's just a lot, right? Then you have to take all that knowledge that you learned about how electrical panels work and water heaters work and HVAC system work, and actually go into a house and start to do an inspection. Then you got to learn the software. Then you got to learn marketing. You got to learn, kind of how to read people. You got to learn, where am I going to even go find all these realtors? You got to learn social media. It's very wide and broad. So there is a lot to it, but at the end of the day, you're starting on day one once you can deliver an excellent inspection. So the way we handle our training is you learn the inspection first, you practice on your friend's house, you practice on your relative's house, you practice on your own house, get through the template, have us give you feedback to make sure you're not making any mistakes. The second consideration, now that could be done depending on your experience and education level of like home systems. You can be pretty quick with that. I've seen people get through all the NACHI training in like 2 weeks, and it's if you're not in a state that has a licensing requirement, that's 120 hours. So it kind of depends on what you want to put into that. So that being said, usually the biggest hurdle that someone has to get over is the state's licensing requirement. I think that 38 states right now have some kind of licensing. So Colorado, no licensing. California, no licensing. Arizona, you got to do like 30 parallel ride-alongs with the senior inspector. And there's nothing as a franchise company that we can do about that. And I always tell everybody, our franchise model is basically like, okay, you got the license. Some people think that's a license for money. It's not. No offense, but you don't know anything about anything once you get your license. Everything we do starts after the license happens. And there's another video about how to get licensed and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, we do go deeper once you get into training on the franchise side, like how to have success with the licensing. We can't do it for you. It's a necessary evil. The states have the requirements. Look, if you got to get licensed to do mold, lead paint, asbestos, all the states have the requirements, and there's nothing as a franchise company that I have anything to do about it. Some states like Florida have 120 hours and 100 question test. It's pretty easy. Other things like Arizona, it's 30 parallels, plus the national exam. I hate the national exam. I'll explain to you why some other time, but it doesn't matter. You got to pass it. Some states are totally ridiculous with like 25 direct supervised inspections and then 100 indirect supervised inspections. And again, as a franchise company, there's nothing we can do to help you except sort of coach you along on how to find the right people and to get that stuff done. So every state's a little bit different. And so let's assume you can get a license. Let's assume you can get through all the online training. Day one is, can you deliver an excellent inspection? You can't start marketing. You can't go ask a realtor for business if you still can't do like pools, for example, right? Because what's going to happen? Inevitably, the realtor's going to go, great, I have a 4,000 square foot house tomorrow and has a pool. And you're like, oh shit, right? You're like, so we want to get you to the point where you deliver an excellent inspection. That way, when you meet with that first realtor, if they do say, awesome, I have a job, I'll give it to you tomorrow, you're like, okay, I can deliver on that. You wouldn't start an ice cream store, open your doors, say we're selling ice cream, and not have like the ice cream makers in the back in the kitchen, and also have people trained up on how to use the ice cream makers. You just wouldn't do that. You say any analogy you want. You wouldn't have a pizza joint if you don't have people trained up on how to make good pizza. You would look foolish as a business owner if you did that. So job one, get the point where you could deliver an excellent inspection, and then everything builds on that. Because once you can deliver an excellent inspection, you kind of put that in your back pocket. You're slowly getting faster at it. Your first couple, 5, 10, 15 that you do that are paid are going to be slow because you're still learning the template, learning where everything's at, and you're trying to be super thorough. But again, now where I'm at, most houses take me between an hour and a half and 2.5, and you'll see in the videos, that is me delivering the report at the end, totally done, totally finished. I'm talking about sewer scopes, termite reports, pools, big houses, it doesn't matter. Once you learn everything, it's all in there, it's all right in front of you, you deliver it right away to the client. You're probably looking at like 60 to 90 days as the very fastest that you're going to. That's what most people do, and probably 180 days in a worst case scenario where you're really slow rolling everything. And then the last thing I'll tell you, if you're watching this video before you've gotten a copy of our federal disclosure document, is if you're super gung-ho and you're like, dude, I'm ready, let's fucking do this, right? You cannot, you have to have it's an investment, right? There are federal laws that regulate all this stuff so that people in my position don't take advantage of people in your position. That's the bottom line. So it's there to protect you. So you have to have that FDD in your hands for 14 days, and you have to sign a receipt saying you have it. So then if we do move forward, more than 14 days has to have transpired between the date of that receipt and you actually signing the documents and getting the business started. So that kind of gives you a sense of how quickly you can get started and kind of all the potential hurdles slash, whatever the case may be, sort of hindrances to you being able to deliver an awesome thing. But here's the good news. It's all about you. It's just training, right? How fast can you take the information in? How fast can you borrow your friend's house and your mom's house, your dad's house, whoever's house? There's no building to build. There's no equipment to wait on. I mean, there's a little bit of equipment to order from Amazon, but you're not starting a pizza joint, right? You don't have to buy a whole kitchen full of pizza ovens, right? You don't have to worry about building out the inside of a retail location, like the inside of a Verizon, the inside of all those things. So that's the great news. It's really just about education. And once you have that education, you're off and running. That's kind of all the talking points around how quickly we feel like you can get started. All right, we'll see you in the next one.